Today I will be discussing about the precipitation titration, as in my previous video we discussed about what is complexometric titration. Now in precipitation titration, the standard solution which you will be taking will be a precipitating agent. For example, when we want to determine the concentration of chloride ions, we generally use AgNO3 silver nitrate, which is a precipitating agent. So the titration with the precipitating agents, they are known as the precipitation titration. Let us discuss one of them. That first is the Mohr's method, in which we will be using silver nitrate as a standard solution. It will be taken in the burette, and in the conical flask we will have the sample which is having chloride ions, and potassium chromate, it will be used as an indicator. So first of all, we will be taking the sample in the conical flask. Let us say we are taking 50 ml of sample in the conical flask which is having chloride ions, and then we will be in that adding the indicator. 2-3 drops of indicator we will be adding, and then we will be titrating it against AgNO3. So when we titrate it against AgNO3, Ag will be reacting with chloride ions and it will give you AgCl. It is very instantaneous reaction, and immediately you will see white precipitate is formed. Actually this approach, it depends on the solubility product difference for the two insoluble silver salt. So when in the conical flask all the chloride ions they are finished, and when we are adding excess of Ag, that will be acting with the indicator forming silver chromate, which is red in color. Now AgCl, it is much less soluble than Ag2CrO4, so it will be precipitating out first. So our end point will be brick red color. So that will be our end point, and we will be noting that reading. So this will be the solution when we are taking the water sample with chloride ions, and then we are putting indicator in that. It will look like this, and when we are titrating it with the AgNO3, we will be getting a white precipitate. And after titration, when we are about to reach the end point, we will get a brick red color. So this is how the Mohr's method is done. Next precipitation titration is Volhard's titration. In that also we are using silver nitrate, but we'll be using silver nitrate in excess, and we will be adding it in the same conical flask which is having the chloride ions. So when we add silver nitrate directly to the chloride ion flask, it will give you white precipitate of silver chloride, and excess of silver ions will be left. This excess of silver ions will be now titrated with thiocyanate, and this we will be using as a standard in the burette. So you will be getting AgSCN, which is again white precipitate, and the indicator which we are adding in this is ferric ammonium sulfate. So when endpoint is reached, what happens, this ferric ammonium sulfate, it will react with thiocyanate, and it will give you a red complex. So that will be the end point. So this is how the reaction goes on. First AgCl will be formed, which is white precipitate. Again AgSCN is formed, again it is white, and then FeSCN is formed, which is red in color. So this was about Volhard's method. Next titration is Feijens titration. Actually that is based on the absorption, in which for example dichlorofluorescein, which is actually green in solution, but it show pink color when it is absorbed on AgCl. So this principle, it will be taken into account while performing the titration. So this is basically the adsorption indicator, you will say. Now let us discuss what actually happens in the Feijens titration. Now when you see in the conical flask, prior to the equivalence point, there will be excess of chloride ions, and some of them they will be adsorbed on the surface of the crystal, and that will give you it a partial negative charge. And after the equivalence point, when titration proceeds, there will be excess of Ag plus ions in the solution, and some adsorb to the surface, and they will impart partial positive charge to the precipitate. So this will be how it looks like. So initially it will be green in color, and after the equivalence point it will appear pink in color. Now next titration which I am discussing is redox titration. That is a volumetric method in which there will be oxidation as well as reduction reaction, that is redox reactions. In this what happens, either the standard solution which you are using, that will act as an indicator, or you will be using starch as an indicator. So for example, KMNO4, if you see, it is purple in color when you are taking it in the burette. So when the titration proceeds, what happens, this purple permanganate, it will be reduced to manganese, and this is colorless. So we don't have to add indicator. Automatically with the progress of the reaction, the color is changing, that is from the purple to the colorless. Similarly, dichromate, it is orange in color, and when you are titrating it, during titration what will happen, it will reduce to chromium, so that is green in color. So in this case, the oxidation and reduction reaction, they are occurring simultaneously. So it is an example of redox titration. Another example includes the iodometric and iodimetric titration. In iodometric titration, oxidizing agent, it will be allowed to react in the neutral medium or acidic medium, and what will be liberated is free iodine. So this liberated iodine, it will be titrated against some reducing agent. Generally we use sodium thiosulfate, and halogens, oxyhalogen, cupric, they can be estimated by this method. So precautions have to be taken, because this reaction should take place in such a way that this liberated iodine, we are able to titrate it. So care has to be taken. Second is the iodimetric titration, in which free iodine is used, and it is difficult to prepare the solution of iodine because it is less soluble in water and it sublimates. So it has to be dissolved in potassium iodide. So this is how this iodo and iodimetric titration is performed. Now in this titration, the indicator which you will be using is a starch indicator.